What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Oh, goodness sakes, we're gonna have to make this one a quick one because the mosquitoes are absolutely atrocious today. So very first thing, I gotta get a fire going to clear them out. I'm out here tonight doing a super basic overnight backpacking camp using mostly budget-friendly gear. I partner with TEMU today to make this concept possible. Before I get too much further into the video, I have to let everybody know you can download TEMU with the link listed on screen below, or you can click in my description, pinned comment, etc., and grab the app that way. Everybody who does will get a $100 coupon bundle for free, or you can type in DNJ534A in the TEMU search bar in order to claim your coupon bundle. Special offer for new TEMU users: anything that I'm using or that's listed in my description, you can buy for $1 today. So yes, we are gonna have a good time. The fire is getting started first. I'm gonna get my camp set up. I'm gonna have a very nice time. I'm going to enjoy nature. This is gonna be a great camp. But before I do any of that, I've gotta take a little nip off of the old banana flask. Woo! Goodness sakes. Oh man. Oh yeah. Once again, that is a monkey shoulder. Very good stuff. Common thing for me to have on the channel. Okay, let's not waste any more time. Let's get into it. Okay, go ahead and take this down branch here and lickety split. We're just going to peel a bunch of these small twigs off. Quick, 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 quick. This is how fast this actually goes. You probably can't see it, but these mosquitoes are just hanging on every last bit of me. They do not want to let go. They do not want to give me any respite whatsoever. So this ought to clear them out pretty fast here. And I'm going to have to rinse my hands off here in a second. Good Lord knows if I've got poison ivy on me at any point, because I was in too much of a rush. Bada bing. Bada bing. Yeah, I might have smothered it a little bit, but in this case, I think that's actually fine, because I will catch on fire, and I want to smoke. Get rid of these doggone bugs. So I went back and kind of gave my hands like a dirt scrubbing, in the absence of soap. That's one way that you can kind of get yourself a little bit cleaner, is just by rubbing dirt and kind of mud and then rinsing it off. Obviously nothing's as good as good old Irish Spring or something like that, but for the cases of trying to, my arms felt itchy, so I wasn't sure if I grabbed some poison ivy while I was rushing through all of that. So that's a good way to get that kind of stuff off. Got to do it quick though. To be honest with you, I usually don't come to these woods much in the summertime because they're always just crawling with so many bugs, and it's just a dense area, and there's a lot of better places I can go. And ever since I bought that canoe, spring of 23, I prefer to be out on that thing as much as possible in the summertime. Oh man, the bugs, they're immediately cleared out. Nothing like a nice little smoky fire to get those guys hightailing it away. Now every year that I come back here, there's always some people who express concerns about kind of trampling and you know, knocking around the vegetation and stuff. As far as I know, this is an established campsite. It's a nice flat spot. There's a fire ring here. There's a stream running through it. This is public land. But I've been coming to this spot for years. Once in a while. I try not to do it all the time, but yeah, all this stuff comes back every single year. So, you know, I'm not hurting anything by getting rid of it. Okay, so next step is we're gonna go ahead and just knock down some of this brush that's back here so that I can get the tent set up. I think that'll be our next step. I'm gonna get this chair set up because my back is killing me. I don't know if I was able to show it or not, but I took a different way that I don't usually come to get into this section. It's a little more tougher of a hike. So you've seen this type of stuff before. As far as I can tell, this is an unbranded chair. I'll put the price up there on the screen so you can see it. Yeah, I don't see a brand name anywhere on the bag or on the frame. But this is a pretty standard design for these type of folding camping chairs, backpacking chairs. It's got this kind of attached elastic so that when you put the legs down, you can wrap it all up. Okay. Go ahead and take a handle on either side, stick that on the bottom supports like that so you don't lose it. Oh, jeez. Oh. Yeah, that is comfortable. So load off the old back there. So one thing that sticks out to me on the chair here is we don't have any pockets over here, and then you don't have any pocket over on this side as well. There is like a nice amount of mesh to allow for some breathability. Mesh on the bottom as well. When you have budget items like this, they have to find a way to make cuts on certain things. So, you know, if you have a drink, you can just set it on the ground. It's not the end of the world. A little pockets on the side would certainly be nice, of course. This is relatively lightweight. It is a backpackable chair. As you saw, I did it with this chair. So I'll go ahead and throw the weight up on screen. I didn't weigh it before I left. I never do. But yeah, the whole backpack I think was only 15 pounds, but I'll weigh it all when I get home, and I'll let you know what the weight of the backpack minus the food was. Woo! All right, it's coming together. So you can attach the poles in the pole sleeve to the tent bag. I just tend to put it in that back inside sleeve that most backpacks have that you saw there, just because I think it's the easier way to carry this stuff. So this is specs on the tent. It's a 2-person tent. You got all your specs there for it. I'll go ahead and start getting this thing set up, and I will go ahead and put up a screenshot of the price up there. Oh man, I'm whooped. Okay, I believe this is a freestanding tent. We're gonna find out together. So this is one of those tents where you have to kind of slide the tent poles up in through the sleeves. I forgot to mention, I have a particular reasoning for why I wanted to do a camp like this. I'm going to explain that to you guys around dinner tonight. Yeah, you can see this is a freestanding tent. Unlike the one I've been using mostly in my videos, it's not freestanding. But yeah, this is pretty light. So what you can do with these type of tents, which I love, is you can open up the door like this, and inevitably you're going to get dirt and schmutz and everything inside of your tent. And then you can just take that tent out like that. I've done it a million times with a million different tents, but for being a budget tent, this is nice to have that. So that is a true two-person tent, I believe. I'm going to get inside so you guys can kind of see. Okay. Yeah, you can see. I would say this is a true two-person tent. It's a little tight from head to toe, but there is enough space to lay shoulder to shoulder with another person. I mean, it'll work. If you're really tall, you might have to lay diagonal like this, but in that case, there's plenty of space. Yeah, it's good. You can have your backpack over here, and it's not bad. So it's got the two zippers here, so you can move wherever you want it to be exactly open. Not that that is a revolutionary feature, but it's nice. And this is what really stands out to me. For a budget tent, I mean, that is so much mesh. That means that that tent will be ultra breathable. That is really, really nice. I will say that. Typically, I don't like these style of poles going into the sleeves and then two separate poles. I would rather a single pole system. Instead of sleeves going in like this, I would prefer if they were all clips. I think that makes it way easier to set up. It does come with this little tent stake bag. Comes with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 very basic tent stakes, and then some adjustable guideline as well. Okay. Just trying to throw anything on that fire to make it more smoky, help clear these bugs out. All right, so I've only got 4 stakes left. which means I'll put one on this side, and then that way this vestibule can still come open. Now there is only one entry and exit point from the tent, so that's another way that they obviously cut costs here. And then there's this whole situation where it should be staked out like that. However, you kind of have to do it like that, which means it's not nice and taut. So it's not measured correctly. You could fix that by putting a little extra paracord on here. Of course, you shouldn't have to, but that is what it is, you know. So yeah, that is kind of how you want it to be staked out. So you would either need a much bigger stake, or you would just need some more cord. So longer shot cord, or just tie some more extra paracord to it. So we'll get through the night. It's not gonna stop us from camping. Yeah, it's kind of the same situation down here. You can see there's just less slack from the way you do it this way. It does get the fly away from the body, so that's nice. But it should be like this, if that makes sense. Hopefully you can see that okay. Instead, it's going like this, and then you have all this flip-flop, so it's not a nice taut. Now I come out and camp under just a tarp on the ground with a sleeping bag, so I'm not gonna let this bother me too much. But yeah, I'm just pointing it out. So there we go. So you can see the same thing here. It should be more like that is what it should be. So I think it's just the paracord or the shot cord just a little too short there. Oh yeah. Yeah, we are rocking and rolling on the fire. Now I didn't use the guy lines because I didn't have extra stakes for it. I could carve up some stakes. I do it all the time, but for the purposes of the video, I'm going to try to stick to the product and what it came with. So one of the things I like to do in order to keep myself from losing stuff, because everybody knows I'm atrocious about doing that, I take all the stuff, so this would naturally go back into the stake bag anyway, so put it in there. I'll put that bag, well, I'll just take them both, and I'll put them inside the tent bag, and I just throw every loose thing into a corner. So I just got a pile of bags over there. Instead of leaving it around the campsite, it's at least better than that. I think the next logical piece is for us to cover the cook set, because I'm going to have to boil water here soon. I brought 2 in. I'm down to just this. It is hot. So I got this cook set. Comes with like a mesh bag here. Now these are basically like cups. There we go. So they just stack on top of each other, and you know, 3 cups. Nothing too crazy, nothing too wild or interesting about them. They're just some basic cups to drink out of. All this stuff stacks on top of each other. So put that aside for a second. So this is aluminum, so it goes like that inside of the mesh bag, and then that stacks on top with the mesh bag closing over top of it. So it's got plastic kind of handles. So you pull out a kettle. It comes with a kettle. The nice thing about aluminum is it is insanely lightweight. Inside of the kettle is a little spatula type of dealie. A rough kind of sponge for cleanup. And then this thing is basically like a ladle. So that handle comes off and then it locks like that. Yeah, that's plastic and a piece of metal. That's a 2-piece. I mean, it's very, very basic. But it is functional. So then inside of your thing you can scoop stuff out and put it in something. So there you go. That's that. And then you've got a little lid that goes on top and a little handle here. Pull that off of there. The bale is coated in like a rubbery kind of plastic material. And it comes with a pot. folding handles that fold to the pot itself. These are also covered in like a rubbery kind of plastic material so they don't get so hot. Stainless steel for the frame of the handle. Technically you could burn these off or cut them off or whatever if you didn't like them. So then you've got the lid, and then you got a pot. So there you go. There are no measurements inside or outside of the pot, so you have to be able to measure things on your own. It also comes with a pan. Same deal with the handles here. They fold tight towards the pan, and they cover in that kind of rubbery material. The same lid fits the pan. Roughly. Not exactly. Should work for retaining heat. Go ahead and fill this guy up here. Got a deeper part here. Fill it up. Then I typically like to do kind of more of a long fire type of setup here, and the reason is it just kind of conserves the wood. It burns a little bit slower, but for our purpose here I like that because you can kind of set that up. It's almost like a surface to cook on basically, or boil water. So I'm going to go ahead and move the tent because, to be honest, I want the door facing this way. I like the idea of coming out of the door and seeing the campfire and going to bed with the door open and, you know, watching the fire. Plus, I'll be honest, kind of looks better in the thumbnail too. Now I've pulled up all the stakes. Boom, boom. There ain't nothing to it. I kind of showed you how the stakes work. So I'm not going to film that for you again. You don't need to see it again. I'll just get it all situated and then we'll cover the pad. Yeah, we got the shadow of the camera right there, if you can't see it. Okay, anyway, I'm trying to roll this side up, and all I can really see, there's these ribbons kind of. So I would assume these ribbons were meant to tie to this pole to keep it steady. I guess we can do this. There's only one, and there's no type of stopper or anything, so I don't know if there's really good. Well, if I just cinch down on it, it basically stays. So I mean, that's good enough. It'll keep it open anyway. It's not gonna, if it was fluttering around in the wind. I don't know, that's weird. That's interesting. Let me get a close up on that. That is pretty interesting. So it comes out from underneath like that. And then on the back side there's this loop. And then you just stick it through here. And somehow by tension it just stays. So it's kind of interesting. So I believe this is unbranded as well. If there's a brand on any of this stuff, I'll definitely put it up on the screen as I'm editing it. This is a very small, compact sleeping pad. Now, any of these off-brand pads, I haven't had the greatest luck with. We'll see how this one holds up for us. I'll be perfectly honest with you. I'll be surprised if it makes it through the night without developing a leak of some sort, because I've just had bad luck with these type of things. Okay, so we got the storage bag. We got a little elastic strap that holds it all together. Yada yada yada, there we go. And then it doesn't come with a stuff sack or anything, so you just got this valve here. Oh, So I think that might be some kind of a pump, but I can't figure it out. If I do figure it out and make sense, then I'll cut to a shot of myself using it. But I don't exactly see how it works at this given stage. Over on this end, we've got another two-way valve. So when you open it like that, it's easy to deflate. And when you hold it like that, you can blow into it. Air will not come back out the other end. Okay. So it's got a little pillow there, so that's why I didn't bring a pillow. So hopefully you can see that. Let's get it into the tent here. The tent's open here. Sleeping pad inside. Yeah. Can you see me? Can you see me? Nothing too miraculous here, but it's not terribly uncomfortable. Yeah. If that holds air, I'll be happy with it, at least providing me cushion. I wouldn't expect it to provide me with any significant level of warmth or insulation from a cold ground. But it's comfortable enough to lay on. Definitely a summertime sleeping pad. So while you're shopping on TEMU, you will see certain brands that you are probably familiar with. And here's an example. So I've actually had my eye on this as a summertime sleeping bag for a while. Always kind of wanted to try it out, but I had other things that were working for me. But I was happy to get this. You can just see how tiny and compact it is. And it really scrunches down into just so little. There it is next to my head. Now, keep in mind I have a gigantic head. But yeah, so that's really cool. So yeah, when you're shopping on TEMU, you'll see brands that you recognize. Naturehike is a brand that I have thought very highly of for a very long time. I think that they make affordable backpacking style gear that isn't the absolute top of the tier, but it is very serviceable at an extremely reasonable price. And not everything needs to be the absolute best. In fact, for a lot of people, it shouldn't be. This is a very, you know, it's a basic sleeping bag here. Enough to kind of get you started here. But I think they're being extremely reasonable. So if you hopefully you can read that. That is a comfort rating at 59 degrees, transition at 46, so you're going to start to feel some cold around the 46 degrees, and then risk of hypothermia at about 26 degrees. You always want to go by the comfort rating, and at 59 degrees, I would say that's pretty reasonable. Oh, that is nice. I'm looking forward to that. Again, we'll take our bags here and we'll just toss them in the corner there. So I did bring a saw. I've been trying not to use it just because I'm trying to stick to like the super basics for the theme of this trip. Like I said, I believe I said it, I've camped here a number of times. The one time I was here, I stashed a bunch of wood back here. So I got a few pieces here. Should be reasonably dry. That I can take back over to camp with me. This chair also has these legs, you know, they're very standard, but they are just continuously sinking into the ground. I know people are always telling me to put tennis balls on the end of them, and at some point I'll give it a try. But to bring 4 tennis balls in your backpack just to make sure, it's a lot of space to take up in your backpack. So it's worth a try. I'll try it sometime. I got a couple other pieces to go through in the kit, so let's make sure we get through them before it gets dark. This is a life tent. So this is like an emergency Mylar shelter. It's ultra basic. You string paracord through a couple of trees and through this is basically makes like a triangle shape. It is the absolute bare minimum to get you by. However, you can use these things like a space blanket. It's the same material as a space blanket. It's almost kind of like a sleeping bag with an open top and bottom. However, I also got this thing because one of the future plans and a trip that I've wanted to do for a long time is simulating if you were out with a day hike and just the basics and just camping and getting through the night with it. So that's something I've wanted to do for a really long time. So something like that will come in handy for that in the future. By the way, I don't know what possessed me to get a white chair. It is already showing signs of dirt. You know, they didn't, you know, ask me to take a white chair. I made that decision on my own. I don't know what I was thinking, but there you go. Yeah, so I got a couple other items in here too. Okay, so the only other things I have... Oh no. I don't think I brought them. Okay, no, I did not forget them. They were just on the ground over there. I don't know why I got two. You know, they gave me a budget to work with, but they were so like insanely cheap. So I got a long titanium spoon, very basic, but it was super, super inexpensive. And it's got that long handle, so you can dig inside of those Mountain House, you know, dehydrated type of bags. So that's cool. I have ones like this, but they are like a fork. And I actually find that the fork function is, I think they'd be more useful if they were just a spoon. So now I have a regular spoon. And then I just thought this thing was neat. It's like a multi-tool. It's got all these little wrench area, like little wrench sockets, little kind of Allen wrenchy type of stuff, bottle opener. It's got all these little tools, and on one end it's a fork, on one end it's a spoon, and it's just got all those little tools in the middle. So it's pretty neat. And this is the backpack that I chose. That's the brand name there. This is a 55 liter backpack. I was trying to do this for a $200 budget. So this was an area where I could really kind of scrimp and save. This is a super minimal backpack in terms of you know, what it offers, and I'll go through it real quick. It was also super cheap too, so keep that in mind. Oh man, as soon as I step away from that fire, I start getting eaten alive by mosquitoes. Okay, so I'm just gonna go through like the basic features on this backpack here. So like I said, I don't remember, it's a 55 liter maybe. Has these straps on the bottom. So these are really cool. There's not a ton. There isn't like a ton of space there, but it was enough for me to get the 1010 too, so that was cool. The very rear of the pack has like a shock cord strap system, which you can kind of tighten up like that, and a little tightener dealy. That's really good for carrying like an extra layer or just something super, super light that you want to carry on the outside. One big pocket on the very outside, so that just goes all the way down. I got a couple more of those fire starters in here. So that's just all one big pocket right there. And that zips. Here's what the zips pulls look like. They're nothing special. Okay, so here's the backpack. This is the main compartment, so it zips open that far. And then there's like a, I don't know if that's a hydration sleeve. Yeah, because I don't see a hole. So it would normally be a hydration sleeve, but I don't see a hole for a tube to come out of. I never use them for that anyway. I put flat stuff in there. So like right now my saw is in there. I usually put a cutting board back here. This is a frameless backpack, so that's a big thing. This backpack does not have any type of frame whatsoever. So when I use a frameless backpack or a framed backpack, honestly, I usually put a cutting board back here. I find cutting boards to be super, super useful. There's a ton of stuff you can do with them. Behind that, this is one big pocket here. So that goes all the way down there. You can see my hand going in there. And then there's a mesh divider pocket. So you can have some extra little storage to kind of separate some of your gear. So that's it. It's pretty basic there. Yeah, so there's these buckles that kind of go like that. So then you can put something, so you can put an axe or something like that, or trekking poles that go in here, and then this can be cinched it down. So it kind of holds it like that. So those are on both sides. And then we've also got like another loop with some more shock cord that can be cinched down. And I assume that takes the top of a trekking pole is most likely what that use is for. Now the padding, there is some padding here. trying to show you that as best as possible. There is some padding. It is super, super minimal. For the price, you know, you get what you pay for. The straps themselves, again, very, very minimal padding. There's some level of padding. There is mesh on both, so that should help somewhat. It's kind of like sweating and cooling and all of that type of stuff. But yeah, it's pretty basic. Waist belt, again, very, very. It's not zero. There is a little bit of padding there, a little bit. A waist belt, you know, that can be cinched. A buckle, top grab handle, so you can pick it up like that. You know, 2 side pockets on either side, mesh. So yeah, if you didn't have camera gear like I did, I carried a separate camera bag, which I often do, because I find that the camping equipment itself, I don't need a full 65-liter backpack like I have used in the past. I find that the smaller backpacks are the better and better gear I get. Often I don't need all that space, so it's nice to have a smaller backpack. So at any rate, yeah, that's the backpack. Okay, let's get back to the campsite because the bugs are eating me alive. See how easy that fire gets going again. I'm never too worried about it going too far out. I could always relight it if I had to, but as long as you have embers, it's usually not too hard to get going again. In the spirit of trying to do this cheaply, I got smart water bottles instead of the regular, those reusable ones that I usually use. Smart water bottles are BPA free, so you can reuse them. They're very popular with like through hikers and stuff like that. So I'm going to use the handle of this spoon. You can use anything you want, but I'm going to put a handkerchief here. I'm just going to shove that down like that, because this water has been boiled, so it should be free of bacteria at this point. It boiled for a nice long time too. However, it is murky and dirty. You can see that water's a little on the yucky side. So it's easiest if I just take it from here, dump it into the kettle. That's most of it. And then the kettle gives me that little spout. So then I'll go ahead and dump that. And that'll filter out a lot of like the dirt and sediment and stuff like that. Ideally, you would use like a Sawyer or some kind of a proper water filter, but just showing you how you can do this alternatively. So that's not too bad. That's halfway decent looking water there. I can drink it. And I almost forgot to show this thing off. This thing is super, super cool. This thing does have like a standard adjustable strap there. So you go ahead and put that on your head. Now the thing I think was really, really cool about this was like, it came in a pack of 4. I forget the exact price, I'll throw it up on screen again. But yeah, this is some serious budget stuff. You got a button over to the one side here. So basically that's a kind of more of a like a spotlight. And that is like a flood kind of light. So you have 2 basic modes. I don't think this is waterproof. This flap opens and it charges with a micro USB. So it's a rechargeable headlamp as well. That is cool. We'll demonstrate this thing at night so you can see. Darkness isn't too far away. An hour and a half should be dark. And that's my whole TEMU kit. It's warm. And it doesn't taste particularly great, but it shouldn't hurt me. And that's the #1 thing. Yeah, we're all set up. It's time for me to start cooking dinner. I feel pretty confident that this gear will get me through the rest of the night. After all, I'm saying bananas. Gotta go over here where it's a little deeper. So hopefully you can see that. I'm kind of hanging the part with the plastic over the edge of the fire so it's not getting too much direct heat on it. Pretty simple dinner tonight, but it's a classic. I don't have any cordage, but I do have this plastic bag I was going to use for garbage. I'll just tie like a real basic knot here. And there we go. I got my backpack up off the ground. That is good. Hard to get tired of that. That puts a smile on my face. Nowhere near as good as Mrs. Banana's cooking though. Before it gets too late and I forget to explain all of this, I did want to say a couple words about this style of camping and why I was kind of motivated to make a video like this. Believe it or not, people ask me all the time to do a cheap camping type of setup. People ask me to do TEMU, people ask me to do Walmart, people ask me to do, you know, some type of budget, you know, as cheap as you can do it. $200 I spent, that was most of the equipment you would need to go camping. Not 100%, but I was pretty close. But then you got clothes and everything, so, you know, it gets complicated. You know, do you want to count the camera gear I'm using? I could shoot it completely on my phone. Anyway, I'm rambling. There's two schools of thought, basically, and I'm going to explain what they are and where I stand. The first one is a lot of people feel that you should, right off the bat, when you get into camping and backpacking in particular, that you should buy the best gear possible that you can possibly afford right off the bat, because it's going to last you forever. And it's going to be a quality gear, and you're not going to make a mistake, and you're not going to get yourself into trouble, etc. I couldn't disagree with that more, and I'm going to tell you why. I think that people romanticize backpacking, and they may have a hankering to do it, and then they might do it a couple times, and then they kind of had their fill. Now, if it's car camping, I think most people are going to find an occasion throughout the rest of their life periodically, whether it's with family or friends, to go do some car camping. So I say go nuts, you know, if you want car camping. But if you want car camping gear, it's not actually that expensive. It's a lot cheaper than backpacking gear. Don't get mad at me. You know, it's just my opinion. But I think that when you start backpacking, you should do it as cheap as possible. Yeah, so I think that a lot of people will either, you know, they'll buy the gear, they go a couple of times, and they realize that either it's not all it's cracked up to be, or they'll realize they scratched the itch, and they just needed to do it a few times, and it's kind of out of their system at this point. And there's nothing wrong with that. What I hate to see people do is spend thousands and thousands of dollars for a hobby that they thought they were going to get really invested in, and then they figured out that they just weren't that interested in, or they didn't have time because they have a family, or whatever the thing is, you know. I hate to see people waste money. I would rather see people waste a couple of $100 than a 2 to 3 to 4,000. I mean, you can spend so much money on this camping gear. So at any rate, when I first started, I did probably my first 2 years were almost exclusively with Walmart gear. It was Ozark Trail brand, and I almost exclusively had that brand and a few other supplementary items on Amazon. So at any rate, that's my perspective. You don't have to share it. You don't have to take my advice. You can do whatever you want. I mostly just hope that you're happy and that you stay safe. And I really, really appreciate each one of you for tuning in and watching this video. I know I say it all the time. I'm sorry if it sounds like a broken record, but I just want to say, you guys mean a lot. So thank you. I don't have 8 beers to drink and do Gloria Estefan this time. So for real, I'm just going to finish off this can of wine. It's plenty of alcohol for me for the night. I'm just going to enjoy this fire, let it die down, make sure it's under control. And I'm going to hit the hay, and we'll do breakfast in the morning. So please stick around for breakfast, because this is something I haven't done before. It's nothing too crazy, nothing too fancy, but I think it's a good kind of backpackery type of breakfast. So, all right, everybody. Good night. Good morning, everybody. Overall, I would say that was not a bad night's sleep. I didn't do the greatest job of cleaning out all the sticks and stuff underneath me. So there was something kind of poking up. This mat is, I would say it's a little more cushion than like a closed cell, but not a ton more. The pillow was adequate. When you lay on it, it kind of puffs up. Not the most comfortable mat I've ever slept on, but it could definitely be worse. Alright, it's time to get up. I burnt the handle up, which I had a feeling was going to happen, but that's okay. I can always wrap it in jute twine or paracord or something to give myself some insulation. All right, well, that's another one in the books. Made it through the night. I'm gonna go join my brother for second breakfast, as us little hobbit folks like to call it. Oh man. I greatly appreciate everybody for stopping with me on the ride. If you liked what you saw today and you'd like to see more, I would greatly appreciate it if you would click that banana. We're gonna catch you on the next one, everybody. Bye now.